Welcome everybody to the Glow Your Own session. We're making some music and then we're going to be exploring what we might be doing in future sessions. My name's Dane, director of the festival, and with me as usual is Kathy. So Kathy, if you could just say a little hello.
Hi, so yeah, I'm Kathy. I'm the festival manager, but today I'm here to learn how to code my Arduino. So I'll probably stay fairly quiet until I can't do something, and then I'll be just like the rest of you asking for help.
And then we've also got back Emily from Science Oxford, who's with us again.
So I'm back again. Yeah, as Dane said, I usually work for Science Oxford, but I also help out with Diff and Festival as well. So if you do have any issues, feel free to email me, either during the session or afterwards, that's fine.
Great. And then also from Science Oxford, we've got Sarah, just enjoying a cup of tea.
Yeah, it's good tea. Hi everybody, good to see you all again. I'm normally just hanging out in the chat trying to troubleshoot things, so yeah, do just any questions at all, posting in the chat and one of us will be able to help you. Yeah, good fun.
We've already had someone who needs a bit of help, so we've got some password issues I noticed in the chat. And then from STFC, we've got Sophie is here again, and Sophie's brought a friend.
We've got two friends today, Dane. Hi everyone. Thank you for coming back. So I have two people to come and help today. They'll be helping in the chat. So we've got Scott. Do you want to say hi, Scott?
Hello. I'm a grad at STFC and I help make the websites that scientists use when they ask to use our accelerator. And I'll be helping out if you have any questions.
Thank you, Scott. And also I have Dalika, who works with the same accelerator as Scott does, ISIS. Dalika, do you want to say hello?
Hi, I'm a programmer at STFC, and also I'm kind of a bit interested in like the overlap between music and programming.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to try and make music. Let's hope. I'm not going to promise that it's going to be particularly musical, everybody. Just to manage your expectations.
I don't know.
I think it will be great, but yeah, we might have to work on the musicality.
Sonic Wonder. And then we've got from Fusion Arts, we've got Catherine back and CJ.
Hi.
Let's see, and then we've got a new person with us today. So we've got Bernice, who is going to be involved in the project, and I'll just explain what Bernice will do later. But Bernice, if you just say hi.
Hello.
So I think that is everybody. I hope that's everybody in the big ever expanding Glow Your Own team. So that's great. But I'm going to now pass on to Sophie, who's going to kick us off with Tinkercad. Again, if you've got any problems, please drop them in the chat and we can see if Sarah or Emily can help do their magic and get your Tinkercad and nicknames and things working. So Sophie, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dane, and hello everybody. Please do volunteer for the steering group that Dane was talking about. It's going to be really good. I think I'm just going to pop the link to the code, link to the Tinkercad class. My goodness, sorry, my brain went completely blank there and I couldn't think of the word. But there is the link to join the class. And I'm just creating a new one. So if everyone goes to that, logs into Tinkercad, and we will get started building our theremin. So does anybody know what a theremin is? Put your hand up if you've heard of a theremin. TJ has, Dane has, oh, Ben has, Lika has, fantastic. Brilliant, everyone. So a theremin is an electronic instrument, and it's really, really cool. It was invented by somebody named Mr. Theremin, Leon Theremin, I think. And it's an instrument that you play without touching it. So it looks really kind of beautiful and eerie and a little bit magical. So I thought to give us all a bit of inspiration, I thought it would be nice for us to see Mr. Theremin himself playing his instrument. So let me just find this. Can you all see Mr. Theremin here? Leon Theremin? I don't think I shared with my sound, so I'm just going to have to do that again. Share sound. There we go. I'm only going to play it for a few seconds so that we've got plenty of time to make our own. So this is Mr. Theremin playing his. Not sure ours is going to sound quite that beautiful. The most famous theremin music that people think of is actually not really played by a theremin at all. Some of you will be old enough to remember original Star Trek. Lots of you will have watched it. People think that it was done with a theremin. It was actually somebody singing, but this is a lady playing it on a theremin. Oh gosh, I thought I'd stop it there. There we go. So that is what we can do with our theremins. I'm not promising ours are going to sound quite so beautiful, but we'll be able to make our own, and that is pretty cool, and we will be able to make it change. So what we're going to do is it's actually some really simple circuits and some circuits that we have used before. So we are going to, I'll just share my screen so that I can see you all on Tinkercad, and actually I'm just going to make you all a bit bigger. The first thing we want to do is create a new circuit. So click on create a new circuit, and it will bring up our circuit for us to do. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a buzzer, which we haven't used before, I think. So you all get to hear that lovely sound. We're going to use a buzzer and a photoresistor to make our theremin. But to start with, as always, we need our Arduino. We're going to make the circuit on Tinkercad, and then we will make it in real life like this. I might have to turn my virtual background off so you can see. All right, so first up, bring your Arduino over, pop it on, and then a breadboard so that we can build our circuit. Same way we start pretty much everything that we do. Okay, so we've got our Arduino here that is going to control our beautiful musical instrument, and we have our breadboard that we can do our circuit on. Now, the next thing that we need to get is our buzzer. So we're going to actually build two circuits. One circuit is connected to the buzzer and one circuit is connected to the photoresistor. And this is just like we did before when we controlled LEDs using a photoresistor, if you remember from before Christmas. So you can find the buzzer if you go the right way, which I did not, down here. Now it's called a piezo buzzer, or possibly a piezo. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it. And it's just a thing that will make a noise, and the noise changes depending on what the Arduino tells it to. So grab your piezo, your buzzer, and put it onto your breadboard. Now, if I were you, I would put it in row E of your breadboard, so quite high up so that you can see, so that there's still plenty of room for you to see the rest of your circuit. Okay, so give me a wave if you got that piezo up. Yep. Fantastic. Jolly good. All right. Now, just like with every single circuit that we've done, we need to make a complete circuit. So we need to make a link from our Arduino to the buzzer and then back to the Arduino. So we are going to control it using one of these pins. So we're going to tell the Arduino using a pin to send a message to the buzzer. I'm going to pick pin 7. So I want to go from pin 7 to this column here. So I'm connecting pin 7 of my Arduino to this row of the breadboard. And if you look, that row of the breadboard is connected to one of the pins of the buzzer. So that's our circuit going around part of the way. Okay. And then we want to connect the other pin down to ground. So back to the Arduino. So we could, if we wanted, go from here all the way down to ground on the Arduino. But what we're actually going to do is what we normally do. So we're going to we're going to connect the pin to the row along here that it says minus. I'm going to change the color so it's orange because it's going back towards the ground. And remember that color of the wire doesn't affect it physically. It just makes it easier for you to see what is doing what. And then I'm going to connect this row to the ground pin. Okay, so I'm going to go from this row all the way to ground on the Arduino. And again, I'm going to turn that orange because everything that's going to ground is going to be orange. So now can you see we've got a complete circuit. We go from pin 7 up to the buzzer, trace it through the buzzer down this row, down this column here, and then along to this row, to the minus row, and then back to ground. Okay, makes sense, everyone? Brilliant. Now the second bit, the second circuit that we're going to make, we've made before, so I'm sure you will all be brilliant at it. We are going to connect our photoresistor to the Arduino to tell the Arduino how bright it is. And remember, if we're going a bit fast, remember that this is all on video, so you can watch it slowly, step by step. You can pause so that there's space in between, and we'll also send you some instructions afterwards. So don't worry if you're not quite keeping up. So firstly, we want our photoresistor. I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, so my photoresistor goes like that. Now, if you remember, photoresistors need power. So we are actually going to connect it to this 5-volt pin from the Arduino here. So we're going to go from this leg of the photoresistor. I'm going to make do a wire, the plus line here. And because it's going to go to the power, I'm going to turn my wire red. Okay, so it goes from there all the way to power. And then I want that power line to connect down to the 5-volt pin on my Arduino. So I'm just going to zoom in a minute so you can see that that red wire is going to the 5-volt pin. So that's the power. So we're going from the Arduino, and we've gone all the way up from the Arduino to this red line here, the plus line. Then I've got another wire going to the photoresistor. Okay, so still haven't got a complete circuit. It still doesn't know where to go after this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to ground. And the way we do that, if you remember, is we're going to use a resistor. We're going to use another resistor to control the amount of current that uses there. So we're going to take this resistor, and I'm going to take it from the other leg of the photoresistor to the ground, so to the minus row here. And from there, it will go through the resistor and back to the Arduino. All right, now 1 kilo ohm, which is what it comes up as normally, is about the right resistance for this. So that's about right. Okay, so we've got a complete circuit because it goes up here, down, and then back to the Arduino. But the last thing that we need to do, and the thing that I have to confess, when I was practicing this earlier, I forgot to do, and then it took me a half hour to figure out what I was doing wrong, is we need to connect make it so that the photoresistor can tell the Arduino how bright it is. Okay, so we want to connect the photoresistor to one of these analog pins, because the light isn't either on or off, is it? It can be really, really dark, really, really bright, or anything in between. So what we're going to do is we're going to take we're going to make a wire and go from this row, so the row that's got the leg of the photoresistor and the resistor. We're going to go all the way down here, all the way down here to one of these analog pins. And because it's sending information back to the Arduino, I'm going to choose another color. I'm going to choose a yellow wire here. Okay. So does that make sense to everyone? I'm sorry, I can't cope with the fact that it's not straight. I'm going to have to straighten these wires up. There we go, that's a bit better. And if you remember, we've talked about analog pins before, and we use these pins down at the bottom when we want it to be any value between, like any value, not rather than just 0 or 1, it could be anything. Okay. All right. Now, so I think we are going to, we'll do a very simple bit of code and then we can make the Arduino. So we'll test it out on our virtual Arduinos and then you can make the circuits. Okay.
Sophie, sorry, before you move on to the next section, we've got a few people struggling to get into Tinkercad. Could you find us a few more nicknames?
Okay, sorry about that.
Post
Hang on a
them in
second.
the chat. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've just given Lewis another one to try, so we'll see how that goes.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I will just stop share and create a couple more nicknames for all of you. Sorry, I should have checked beforehand that you had all remembered your nicknames. You know how many we need, Sarah?
2 that I'm aware of. I've suggested Glow Your Own 102 or 300. I wasn't sure which system you were going for.
Yep. So if you do GYO 102, 103, 104, 105, that should work. All right, I've just made some new nicknames for you.
So we'll get Sarah and Emily to allocate those codes to people so we don't get people all signing up with the same
one. Yes, that would not work, would it? Sorry, everyone. I can't really see the chat very well when I'm sharing my screen, so I didn't notice.
That's
Speak out at me if I do.
Right, it's under control.
Brilliant. Okay. So is everyone okay? Should we do the little bit of code? Yeah? Fantastic. Rudra says yes, so let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, wait, I need to share my screen first, don't I? Brilliant. Okay, so now we want to code it. And so we're going to use a really simple code to start with, but then we might get to a little bit of a fancier code in a bit. Now, the first thing we want to do is the code that's there sort of automatically. We don't want that. There are no LEDs, so we just delete that. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a repeat while because we want to carry on. We want something to happen forever and ever and ever. Okay, so we're going to use repeat while. And then we're going to use a condition from our mathematics block, our maths block, the green one here, and pop that in here. And remember, so we're going to say repeat while 1 equals 1. So we need to change this button here to equals. So that's always going to be true. 1 is always equal to 1. And so anything that happens in this loop is going to happen forever. Okay, and now we want to send a message to the speaker, to the buzzer, to the Piezo buzzer. And actually Tinkercad is really great because it's already written some code to us to help us do that. So we can use this play speaker to do that right here. Hang on, I'm just going to make it a bit bigger for you. Is that okay? All right, so play speaker on pin. So it says on pin 0, but my speaker, remember my buzzer was connected to pin, I thought I'd remember, but I don't, 7. So I need to change this to pin 7. Okay, so that's changed to pin 7. So that's going to send the result to pin 7. Now, if we did it like this, it would just make a noise. with this tone. So this thing called tone is the sound that it makes, whether it's a really low sound or a really high sound. I should have got someone who was really good at singing to volunteer to sing different notes for me, but I haven't, unless any of the helpers are really good at singing. No one's volunteering to sing for us. Oh, you're all mean. So it's a really like low note or a really high note up here. And so we want that to be controlled by how light it is. And if you remember, you can get the information from the light sensor by looking at this input thing. So we want to read the pin. So we want to find out what pin that the light sensor is connected to in there. So read pin A0, and then you just have to make sure that the right pin is chosen. So mine is connected to pin A1 here. So whichever one yours is connected to, just need to make sure that that is connected to pin A1. All right. So give me a wave if that's okay. Really simple little bit of code for us to start with. Fantastic. I've got some brilliant waving going on. Okay, so now the bit where I have to apologize to everyone that you live with, because this is going to make a horrid noise if we've done it right. So now we're going to, in a minute, we're going to start the simulation. And if you remember before, just because it's going to make a noise, I'm going to explain this before. If you want to change the light that the simulation thinks is falling on the photosensor, you just click on it, then you get a sliding scale and it goes up and down. I can't remember if I shared my sound with my noise, so I'm going to stop the share for 1 minute and share a sound. Yes, I did. Okay, so we're going to start our simulation in as initializing. I did warn you it was a really horrid noise, didn't I? But did you all hear that when I changed the light, when I changed the amount of light that it fell onto the light sensor, it went from a really low noise when it was down here, when it was all dark, to a really high noise when it was up there. So did that work for everybody on their thing? Yep, looked like it worked for Stuart. Did anybody else's work? Just have a look at the chat.
We may have deafened Lewis. Sorry, Lewis.
Oh no, I'm so sorry, Lewis. It is a very unpleasant noise. But that's how we can make our own theremins. Okay. So did everyone's, sorry, my computer's sending me messages. Did everybody's work, did it make a noise, and did the noise change depending on how light it was? Kathy's did. Kathy's looking very pleased with herself. How about the rest of you? Rudra's got a tick. Dragonfly's celebrating. Hooray. Congratulations, everybody. Fab. If it didn't work, that's okay. Remember, you've got this on recording and we'll have the instructions as well. If it didn't work, pop something in the chat and Sarah or Dalika or Scott will be happy to help and will do their best to help and see what's going wrong. So now that we've made it on our computers, we get to make it in real life. I'm going to turn my virtual background off so that you can tell that I'm holding up an Arduino rather than just a blur. You can see my poinsettia in the background. You can see like this. Okay, so when we're making circuits or when we're doing coding, it's always a good idea to do things in as smaller chunks as possible. So what I would do is let's first make this part of the circuit with the buzzer. Okay, so what you're going to need to get is 2 orange wires, 1 green wire, and your buzzer. Now, this is what your buzzer looks like. I'm going to hold it up right close. It's quite big. It's got two little legs on the back. Mine has a weird sticker on it that says remove seal after washing. I don't know why it has that, but I've left it on because I haven't washed it. So, you know, it's there. So that's what you need. And then you need to make the circuit to be exactly the same as this circuit here. Now, a thing to remember is that it's quite easy for you to make it so that your pins of your speaker, of your piezo buzzer, aren't actually on the same column as the wires. So when you pop it in, don't put it in the whole way, just put it in a little way so you can still see the legs, and then put the wires in, making sure that they're in the same column so that they're connected to the legs. And then when your wires are in, push the piezo buzzer down. Okay, so that the connection's nice and firm. All right, I can see people working away. Yeah, I'll hold up the buzzer for you. I'm going to stop sharing so that you, for a second, or would actually no, because you will need to see the circuit. If you double click on me, on my photo, you should be able to see me a bit. Might be able to make me big. So this is the buzzer. It's a kind of cylinder-y thing with two sticky out legs like this. If you can't find it, that's absolutely fine. You've got it on your you've got it on the virtual Tinkercad, or on the simulated Tinkercad, so you can still do the coding and still make the music, or what passes for music anyway. There you go. Is that all right? If you look at so if you've got this box, this basic starter kit, which I think most of you got sent at the start, there's a little set of the different components, so you can see the buzzer is just here, which says it's got that. It says it's got that sticker on. I don't know why you'd want to wash a buzzer. Sarah, any ideas? No idea. So it's a cylinder. Okay. All right. Have we got that part of the circuit done? Looks like people are still working on that. Kathy's there and Catherine's there. Roger's there. Fantastic. Stuart's there. Oh, jolly good, Catherine. All right. Now the next. So now we've got that. We'll do the next circuit. So you need 2 red wires and 1 yellow wire to do it. Like I said, the color of the wire doesn't actually matter. It just makes it much easier for you to tell, because you can see even with this simple circuit, there are quite a lot of wires and things, so it's easier for you to tell which bit is which is which, if you've got some color coding going on. You want 2 yellow wires, 1 yellow wire, 2 red, your photoresistor, and if you remember what your photoresistor looks like, it's this one here. It's like really tall and thin, and it's got a kind of squiggly pattern on the top and really long legs. Sorry, I'm trying to hold it so that the background is not my head, but it's my wall, so that it's easier to see. Okay, and then our resistor. So do remember to make sure that the connections are the same as the connections on this diagram, which I'm probably now going to get wrong because I'm not very good at putting them in the right places. Okay. So once you've done that, now if you remember from before when we uploaded our code to our physical Arduinos, to our real ones, remember what we needed to do? We had to go to the code section up here and change this bit that says blocks to the one that says blocks plus text. Okay, and then you can see over here that we've got a different, we've got some text, and that's just a different way of writing the code. So it's a different way of telling the Arduino what to do, and a different way of writing it. Now, it's a lot easier building things with blocks, but once you've got the blocks, you can then tweak these here. So you can see this bit. This is where it's saying pin 7 is going to an output, so it's going to our buzzer. If I wanted to, I could just change that here. All right, so once you've got that, you can copy all of this and then change over to our Arduino thing, our Arduino IDE. So that was the code that you installed on your computer, which looks like this. Which doesn't look like that at all. It looks like this. Can you all see? And what I've done, you just take the code that was here, this void setup, and copy it into this. Right, just like that. And then we save it. Which is for some reason taking a long time on my computer. It's exciting, my computer's frozen now. I'm just going to stop the share because my computer decided to have a bit of a temper tantrum at me. Ah, there we go. It didn't like saving while I was sharing it on Zoom. Okay, I'm going to have to share again. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so we've got that. And then we connect our Arduino to our computer using the USB cable, which mine has fallen on the floor. So this USB cable. And if you remember, a really important thing when you're doing things with the real Arduinos is we never change the components when it's connected to the computer. We always take the computer lead out when we're changing over our components, because that's providing power to it, and we don't want to be messing with the circuit if there's power. This is actually really, really small currents. It's not going to hurt you, but in general, just don't. So I'm going to connect it in to my Arduino like this. You can tell that it's connected properly because it's made a, got its light on there. And then I'm going to upload this to the Arduino by pressing this button. You can see here it's saying compiling sketch, thinking about it. That basically means it's thinking about it. It's loading. And now you might just be able to hear if I put it close to the thing, it's making a noise. Can you see that? But if I change how light it is, nothing happens because one of my wires came out when I lifted it up. Sorry about that noise. I'm just going to put my wire back in. See, the problem with moving these wires is that that happens a lot. Here we've got a noise. You can see when I move my finger up above it, that changes the light and that changes the noise. There we go. I did apologize to you all for the noise it made, right? Okay. So how is it going, everybody? Have we got some theremins? Have we all got some theremins? Oh, someone's, Kathy's got an error. Yep, so Kathy, the error that Kathy's got is actually really common a lot of the time. So I'm just going to show you how it's normally what happens when the computer gets confused about which USB port the Arduino is plugged into. So I'm going to plug mine in again, but I've taken my buzzer out so it doesn't make such a horrid sound. So what you do is you go to Tools, and then you go to this thing called Port. And you can see there are a couple of different options. One of them normally says brackets Arduino Uno when it's connected. But even if neither of them do, just try changing it. There, but mine's connected to the right one, so that's okay. So I can upload it and send my code all the way to my beautiful Arduino. Right. Okay. So how is it going, everybody? Have we got some theremins? I'm just going to switch the code away so that you can all see the circuit. One thing to check is that this buzzer is really connected to the right things, because it's really, really easy to connect it to the wrong ones. Catherine's is working, hooray! And Kathy's is working too, fantastic. How about the rest of you? Do we have some circuits? Stuart says brilliant.
I've just got a very useful, important message in the chat. Stuart has suggested that you didn't mention about the polarity of the buzzer. Some buzzers, it matters which way around you put it in, and some buzzers don't. So if yours isn't working, try turning it around. Thanks for that, Stuart.
Absolutely, yes, you're right. You know what? I actually have a note to myself here to say that, but I didn't. It's the only note I wrote about it. The only thing that I was like, yes, you have to remember to say this, Sophie, and I missed it. So thank you very much, Stuart. Just like with LEDs, if you remember, LEDs have to be the right way around. Some buzzers also have to be the right way around. So just try changing that if it's not working as well. So Ben's isn't working either. Ben's, is your virtual one working? So we can,
it's not.
Okay, well, we can look at the, we can have a look at it at the end when we're doing the troubleshooting. Okay, but just check that all of the circuit is the right way round like this. Okay, and that all of these, and if you want, actually, a good way of checking that your buzzer circuit is right is I go to back to the code. So here, our code plays the speaker and it reads in what the pin is. Okay, so it reads in what your photoresistor is saying. If you take that bit out and just leave it as 60, okay, and then try simulating it, if it makes a noise, then you know that your buzzer circuit is right and that there's a problem with your photoresistor circuit. If it doesn't make a noise, then it means that there's probably something wrong with your buzzer circuit. Okay, so try that. Always a good idea to make it as simple as possible when you are debugging your code. Okay, so well done, everybody that's made a theremin. If it hasn't quite worked for you, that's absolutely fine. Like we said, you've got the, you'll have the recording, you'll have instructions that show you pictures of the code as well. And we can, especially if you're on the class, we can have a look at your code and at your circuit during troubleshooting in about a quarter of an hour. So we've got another, say, 5 minutes, I think, and then CJ is going to tell us a bit about what we're going to be doing in the May session, which is going to be very exciting. So I thought it would be a good idea just to have a quick chat about how we can make our theremins a bit better. Now, at the moment, it's really, really simple because our code just says whatever the light value is, send that to the speaker and play that. Okay, which is fine, and it makes the noise, but we might want to always play a note that's between middle C and top C, say. We might want to play particular musical notes. Yeah. So if you remember middle C, I'm not sure how many. Middle C is the note in the middle of the piano, and it's, I don't know, it's the note where everything starts. I don't really know why. Surely I've never even thought about that before. Middle C is the note in the middle of the piano. So you might want to get it to play a note when it's really dark. You might want it to play middle C, and when it's really bright, you might want it to play an octave above, 8 notes above on the piano. But the light that the photoresistor sees is going to be different for all of us. It's going to be different from you and for me and everybody. So we could just play around with it. We could look and see what values of light we get. And we can do that by using this output that I think we might have used before. So if you go to output, there's this button, there's this block here called print serial monitor, print to serial monitor. So if you pop that in the repeat loop here, and instead of saying print hello world, what we want to do is we want to figure out what light the photoresistor is seeing. So if you remember, we can use just the same bit of code as that. So we want to read the pin. We want to read pin A1. Okay. And then I can play it again. So anyone on headphones, cover your, actually, you know what? I'll share without sound so you can't hear it making an awful noise. Oh no, I can't. I'll share it without my sound. But only I get to hear the awful noise. So then if I start the simulation, now you can't hear a noise. I can't hear you, so you have to mime everything. So it's playing with the light like this. But if we go down here to this bottom bit that says serial monitor and click up, you'll see that it's putting a number on there. Okay, and that number is the number that the light sensor is seeing. So if we click on the light sensor and change the amount of light the light sensor sees, to move it up to say the middle, you can see it's gone from 6 to about 500. Okay, and if you go up even further, it goes all the way up to 670, 680 or so. So you can see the different values of light that our light sensor sees when it's being simulated by using the serial monitor. Serial monitor is such a useful tool to help figure out what you're looking at. And on the Arduino, so if you're using a physical Arduino, I'll just show you where that is as well. Here we go. So you can see my, you can see this, my Arduino is connected like that. If you want to go to the serial monitor, you go to Tools, and then you can click Serial Monitor. And then you can't see it because it didn't share that particular bit. You can see my serial monitor doesn't show anything because I didn't tell it to, did I? Sorry, I changed my code without changing the code to the Arduino. Oh, wait. Hang on. So I'm going to change my code. Yeah, that's going to the Arduino. Like this. I'm going to upload it. I'm going to share my screen. So you can see that it is changing the number. And if I change the light, so if I put my finger over it, you can see now it's gone down to 0. But if I make it as bright as possible, the wire has fallen out again. If I make it as bright as possible, it goes up to about 1,000. Okay, so you can use that to figure out what your maximum and minimum light levels are. And once you know your maximum and minimum light levels, you can say, okay, well, when it's really dark, I want it to play middle C. So I want it to play a frequency of 50-ish hertz. And when it's really light, I want to play it a different one. And then you can use some maths to change from to change the value that it said to the value that you want it to do. Okay. So Rudra, you wanted to see the code again. Here is the code. Oh. Okay. Oops, that was not what I meant to do. There we go. So just a really simple little bit of extra coding will mean that we can tell what light value it is doing. And when Emily sends out the recording, she'll send you some notes about how you can do that automatically. So how you can get the Arduino to figure out what's its maximum light value, what its minimum light value is, and then map that to the frequency, to the tone, to the sound that you want it to be, okay? And do it all automatically using your Arduino. Because Arduinos are clever little things and they can do stuff like that. Okay, all right, we've got a few more minutes now. So I think that's great. Oh,
so we've got a couple of requests in the chat. Oh, I can hear some buzzing. To show again how you get the code from Tinkercad into the Arduino program and then off the Arduino, just another recap of that. Okay. And also about the serial monitor again, once you're in the physical Arduino, how we check the serial.
Okay, will do. So we are in Tinkercad at the moment. We've got our code. And so the first thing to do is to change the bit that says blocks up here to blocks plus text, like this. And then you'll see that this text appears. There are instructions for this as well on the website. And I think, Emily, if you can include the PDF as well, that would be great. So we've got this beautiful text here. And what you do is you can highlight it and just copy it, just using Control-C or right-click and copy. Sorry, I have to do that or I don't know which is left and which is right. And copy. So that is the first bit. Everyone there? Then we switch over to our Arduino thing. And now if you remember that this looks, I'm going to stop my share so you can see the different one. This, once you open it, looks like this. So it's got a little icon that looks like an infinity sign or a sideways 8. Once you've got that open, you just click in it. There'll probably be some text in it. You delete whatever's in there and then paste your code from Tinkercad into there. So you can do that using Control V or right click and then paste, whichever is easiest. So once it's in there, then this piece of code will be able to send it to your Arduino, okay? Once you've got that, the way you send it to the Arduino, the way you send those instructions to the Arduino is you connect your Arduino to your computer using your USB cable, like this. And then you press this button here that says upload. So the arrow pointing off to your right. Click upload. And then I've got an error. So I'm just going to switch my port. I've got an error. It was working just a minute ago. All right. So I must have, I copied the code strangely or something. So you can just click on this and it sends it to the Arduino. You can tell when it's sending information to the Arduino because you see these little lights on the Arduino itself, the orange one and the green one. When I click upload, it thinks about it and then it sends it, so it flashes. Did you see the orange light flashing? That just tells you that yes, it has connected to the Arduino and it is sending the information to it. Mine's not making a noise because I took my buzzer out because it was making such a horrid noise. The buzzer isn't connected at the moment. Okay, did that work for everybody? Brilliant. So once you've got that and once it's uploaded, you can look at the serial monitor. So the actual light from the photo sensor is taking by going to Tools and then pressing the one that says Serial Monitor. So you click that and then, sorry, I have to stop share because it opens in a separate thing. And there I've got this. So it's at the moment it's really light, but if I put my finger over it, it gets. If I put my finger over it, I lose it out of the thing. There, you see. Sorry, it fell off. You all need to be better than me at sticking it in properly. You can see it changing on there. Like that. Okay. Nothing is showing in your serial monitor, Kathy. Do you have a line that says serial.print in your Arduino code? Yeah, it's highlighted. Then something different is happening and we will figure out what it is during the debugging. Because we've now only got 2 minutes, sorry, but I'm sure that CJ will, it will be, so thank you all for that, everybody. We have another couple of minutes for CJ to just give us a little bit of a taster about what we're going to be doing next time. Remember, we can stay on and we'll do some debugging at the end, okay? So thank you, everybody.
Okay, hello everyone. Sorry if my video is a bit glitchy. Sometimes it can get like that if I've got lots of things going on tech-wise, but I will turn it off if it does get distracting. So in the next session, in May's session, we're going to work towards the idea of getting in touch with nature, literally, but through the use of coding. So a nice play on the idea that we can use electronics and everything, things that are electronical, but still be able to connect with nature. And that's kind of the end goal that we kind of want to work towards. So in order to do that, we're going to use Arduino and coding and we're going to use the a touch button sensor. And in order to do this, we'll need some conductive material. And you can buy, if it is possible for you all, to buy conductive tape. You can get it on Amazon or RS Components and Pi Hut, but we will send you a list, and it's not too expensive. Or we can use aluminium foil. And the idea is that we're going to attach, and also if you've got gloves, just your average, just magic gloves like this, if you could get them out and have them ready for June time, which is when we're actually going to make the kind of the practical side of things. And the idea is that we have a touch sensor here, and then that needs to we put the glove on, and that then connects to some more conductive material on the table. So we create the connection and the conductivity happens. And that is then going to light up some LEDs. So we're going to code the touch sensing, and that to then code the patterns of light with LEDs, which I'm sure you've done a few of that in previous sessions. So that's what we'll do in May. We'll do the code for that, and we'll do the Tinkercad circuits. And then in June's session, still got the glove on. In June's session, we'll then, if you've got the materials, this can be found materials in the house, including cellophane or cling film or anything. You can get as creative as you want with the materials that you have, but to create a little object that could be something that you love in nature, or it could be something that perhaps you want to find out more about in nature. So it could be leaves, plants, trees, moss, a swamp, anything that's kind of in nature that you either love and are really inspired by, or that you want to get to know more about. And the idea is that through this touch, we are connecting, getting in touch with nature, literally, and the LEDs will sort of light up what's in front of you in your art piece that you've created that's a part of nature. So that's the kind of end goal. And it reaches the wider question of how do we get in touch with nature, and in doing so, like, how can this kind of inform us about being able to protect nature? And so once we're more familiar with it, that can give us the learning tools to kind of be more informed about nature and how we can strive to sort of protect it. So that's the kind of overall aims. So we'll send you a list of things that you might need to kind of have with you, but aluminium foil is always a good conductor material if we can't get hold of the fabric. The only reason I say about the fabric is because it's nice, because it's nice to use with textiles. So it's kind of more malleable, kind of a nicer effect. Does that sort of all make sense? I've had to like rush that into a small amount of time, but does that make sense? So May is the coding and the fritzing, and maybe a little bit on the end about how we're going to use the conductive material. And then June session is kind of making it all and putting it together. So is that all good? Anybody not clear?
Sounds very good. So we've been learning a whole bunch of different techniques of getting our Tinkercads and Arduinos and little breadboards connected to LEDs, buzzers, light sensors, and CJ is going to take it a little bit further to kind of show some new techniques of what Tinkercad and our Arduino kits can do with a few other kind of found materials. And hopefully everyone has access to either clean foil from the kitchen or maybe some recycled foil or something like that if you want to do that instead. It sounds really exciting. I'm super intrigued to sort of find out how this is all going to go. I don't know what a magic glove is, so maybe you could tell us what that is.
Sorry, they're just the gloves that you get in the like the winter gloves that kids have usually. They used to be called magic gloves when I was young anyway. They just stretch. They're just the normal gloves, the standard. If anyone has any of these still in their winter boxes or anything, winter gear.
They're just stretchy gloves. Is that
yeah,
it? So
it's just that's all it is. They're your average gloves. Can be any gloves, as long as you don't mind putting material onto it, and perhaps getting it a little bit messy, I suppose.
Great. So maybe ask parents and things about sort of customizing clothing. I would just wonder, because some gloves are conductive, aren't they? So sometimes you can sort of control your phone through gloves, but I wanted to check that they're not special, but they're just ordinary gloves.
Because the point is that we use the material, the conductive fabric or the foil as a way to create the conductivity of the connection.
Great. Like it.
Mm-hmm.
So someone asked a question about the thickness of the conductive tape that we might need.
It can be any thick. It doesn't matter. Literally, if you just type in, if you do want to go down that route of buying it, you just type into Amazon or Pi-Hut or RS Components. They're the 3 websites that I know does it. Can be any. It doesn't have to be any particular. Either fabric, the tape, or we can use foil. And if anyone's into like sewing, I mean, they do conductive thread as well, if anyone's into sewing, but that's something maybe for a future endeavor.
But we're really excited to kind of hear the kind of things that have been, interesting for you as people who are kind of learning coding and developing kind of your creative skills in LED programming or sound manipulation or any of those sorts of things. So Bernie is going to be involved in helping us sort of gather some of these examples of where maybe people have learned something new, or maybe kind of finding out where you would like the project to go. And so we're hoping that, and you don't need to decide now, but we're hoping that some people who have been involved with Glow Your Own since October last year, if you'd like to be involved in our sort of story collecting exercise, where we're going to be wanting to kind of interview a few people just to find out what the experience of Glow Your Own has been like over the past, during the festival last year, and then also this kind of revival session. Like, is it working? Is it interesting? What have you learned? Has it been fun? And then also maybe where would you like the project to go? And so one of the things that we've been really keen to develop is sort of more creative practice, and that's where CJ has been really useful in thinking about what can we do with LED artwork. But we also don't know what we don't know, right? So the idea of having kind of smaller kind of private chats between all of the Glow Your Own participants that have been with us for almost 6 months now. And as we kind of build up this monthly kind of momentum, and then moving into sort of September and October this year when the festival's happening, when we're looking to go weekly again, bringing on new people. And so I think kind of having this opportunity to kind of listen to what you as Glow Your Own participants have to say about the project, how it's worked well, where it's not been quite as you'd expected, in good or bad ways, it doesn't really matter. It's all helpful for us to kind of capture that picture. And so if you've come as a single person who's kind of working on projects, that's great. We can obviously work with you. And if you're a younger person who's got a parent, a guardian, or a grown-up with you, what we might do is have a conversation with the parent or guardian, just sort of separately, and then also a conversation with you as a young person with the parent or guardian or grown-up kind of present. But the key part is the parent or grown-up has to be quiet when you're speaking, because we want to kind of really find out what you as young people are finding out and experiencing with the project. But obviously we don't want to have you in a room by yourself, just in case you're saying something that maybe mum or dad or big brother or someone has gone, well, that's not quite so true, and we kind of, and what about this other thing? So it's really good to kind of get your views as young people, but it's also really good to get kind of older people's kind of perspectives. So you don't need to decide whether or not you'd like to be involved in that right now. So maybe have a think about it, sort of see how we've been going so far, and also kind of seeing how we can kind of steer this project of the Glow Your Own kind of program to kind of be even better as we kind of move on, if that makes sense. Is that all right with everybody? Maybe a thumbs up if that's an okay thing. Awesome. Well, so great to kind of get this exciting creative coding project off the ground and sort of see, you know, we've got some people who like sewing and designing, people like coding, so we're bringing all these fun things together. And so thanks so much to Catherine and CJ for kind of providing some creative inspiration. Thanks as always to Sarah and Emily for kind of helping get things going in the background. Thanks to Kathy to get things sorted out. To Sophie and Scott and Delicia at STFC, thanks so much for coming along, and some great Tinkercadding. I know there's been a few difficulties, but I think again, we need to be kind to ourselves. This is not easy, is it? The video is going to be up online as soon as we can get it up there, so it might just take a few days. So thanks so much for coming, and we'll see you next time.